We acknowledge that this podcast is recorded on the unceded, ancestral, and occupied traditional territory of the Anishinaabe Nation, the people of the Three Fires known as Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations. And furthermore, we thank the Chippewa of Saugeen and the Chippewa of Nawash, now known as the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, who are the traditional keepers of this land. In some parts of Canada, treaties were signed with First Nations that gave incoming settlers rights to much of the land, while in other areas, few or no treaties were signed. Unceded land was never given or legally signed away to Britain or Canada. It was stolen and continues to be occupied and governed by settlers today. As we live, work, surf, and play, we say mahalo to the Métis, Inuit, and Indigenous peoples of Turtle Island and from around the world who have stewarded these lands and sacred surf spots for thousands of years. We recognize their amazing resistance, resilience, and strength in the face of ongoing dispossession, colonial violence, and injustice. In particular, we wish for justice to be brought for the murdered and missing Indigenous children and victims of Canada's residential school system. We believe that for true healing and harmony to occur, we must end the cycle of oppression while working together as we move forward in truth and reconciliation. We can be better, we can do better.
Hey, Tim Hill, otherwise known as Captain Aloha. We got Tim Driscoll, otherwise known as Stoke.
Woo!
And we got Faith Hoekstra from the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project. Welcome to Permastoked, guys. How are you doing?
Good.
Doing well, Derek. Doing well.
Nice.
Still warming up. That's
Some
for sure.
friends, you're talking to me up in the Great White while I'm looking at you guys sitting in a barrel.
Phew!
So what
We
is that?
finally got a little bit of snow here, so it's like it's actually winter here. It's been super warm lately, so I've been enjoying it. But I know like some people around here love the seasons, and I'm cool with surfing, you know, without snow and without a giant ice beard. But if it's what we got to do, it's what we got to do. So we knocked that out this afternoon, that's for sure.
Okay, but Cam, I saw those Facebook pictures, and dude, you were rocking a sick ice beard, my friend.
You know what? I don't bring much to the table. And if I can just bring that, like, you know what, and get a smile out of people like yourself, like that's all I'm trying to do.
Well, it's working for you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Nice. So who made this painting that's behind you?
That's my artwork.
Nice.
One of my, whatever you call it, talents is
Wow.
doing art. I've done big pieces before. I worked with Todd Zwig from Play School Productions in San Diego. We've done like 12 by 15 foot paintings and installations. I painted the inside of the tunnel to the Iguanas nightclub in Tijuana. A lot of famous bands came through there: Red Hot Chili Peppers, the Ramones, UB40, De La Soul. I can go on and on and on. So
And
that's
then
like
they're
that's
rocking
in the 80s.
Oh,
What's that?
they're rocking.
Yeah, that was all that's all like 80s stuff. This is what I've been working on over the last week. So
This is recent. Wow.
yeah, I just it's not quite completed. I've got to finish the water droplets. You'll see them as white dots, but each of those will have like a kind of like a mini like picture inside each water droplet. So it's yeah, I'll get to OCD out on that stuff.
Nice.
So
Tim, I love it, dude. That is sick. So, did you look at something to draw that, or is that totally out of your head?
I've been barreled. I'm trying to think if I've been in one quite that big.
Wait, was it a picture? Or did you
No,
just
I've been
imagine- you
inside.
imagined it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you imagined it.
Yeah, I imagined it in my head, and then there's going. There's pictures that I have, and then there's pro surfers. You know, their point of view with their GoPros. It's just me as a photographer doing water photography. I've been in the barrel with the camera, so I've got pictures that are kind of similar. So
Nice.
yeah, I mean,
Well,
It's actually like taking him away from surfing with me. Like sometimes he is only like, maybe waist high and up, or then he'll like scoff at me or whatever. But like this thing, and it's worth it. Obviously, you can see it, but like, I mean, sometimes he needs to get out in 2-foot waves, and this barrel has been like really. I had to go out by myself and double over ankle. That's ridiculous.
if you're looking at that every day, that's gonna keep your expectations.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah, that is sick, man. So for anybody listening who's not viewing, you might be a little confused right now. We're looking at a giant wave tube that Tim painted in this room, and it is sick. That's
It's
for
like,
sure.
yeah, 3 people. I'm looking at our little picture down in the corner, and we are actually all like
comfortably.
kind of, yeah, we're like, it's almost like a Jamie O'Brien, like surfing on a big giant unicorn, 3 people deep in an actual barrel. Like, I don't know. That's
Yeah,
pretty legit.
in Michigan. So where am I
Water has a
talking?
lot of
Where am I talking, guys?
ripple
From?
colors.
That would probably be the equivalent of surfing 12-foot backdoor pipeline, like the view that they get, like what he was saying, what Jamie O'Brien gets. This would be pretty similar. We probably go onto his videos and be like, okay, yeah, we get that. So
Nice.
yeah,
Amazing.
I don't know if I might still have the balls to tackle something like this, but I don't know, man. That's a serious beating if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's cool to be able to talk with guys like Tim. I don't like know a lot of people personally, like I know Tim, but like just some of the things that he's like the pointers that he's given me for bigger waves, and like we've been out in stuff that's above my league for sure on 2 specific occasions, and we were talking about this yesterday, like 2 specific occasions for somebody who's been surfing for like 16 months. They changed the game, like, and I took a beating once, like a solid one right on the head that like I had never felt anything like that before. And like, I mean, as a new person surfing, like it's really eye-opening. And it helps you, like, put you in the right spot, or at least keeps your head up. So like when something's gonna happen, you can brace yourself a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool to like hear about some of the places that he surfed and some of the waves, and then how he compares them to what we got to surf out here, because just like you, like chest high for me is probably like where I could sit at for another couple of months, like depending on how clean it gets or whatever, like, just so I can work on like turning and making sure that like when I get in big stuff, like I'm not bouncing myself off the sandbar, or even worse, like getting into somebody's way, because like I had that happen once. I just paddled out in the lineup, and luckily the guy was cool about it, but it was completely my fault. And it's things like that sometimes people don't have a good mentor, a good teacher to like help them with the little tiny nuances. But again, like some of the cool stories that I've heard are pretty awesome.
But we know that Tim has been he's been around the waves for quite a while, surfed a lot of waves, a lot of knowledge. Tim, did you ever expect at this point in your life, man, on the Great Lakes to be a mentor to somebody like Tim?
Not a chance.
No? Okay. How does that feel to be?
I don't know if anybody could ever think like they'd be a mentor to me.
or even just even surfing on the Great Lakes. Like that was
The wind blooming.
surfing here on the Great Lakes. You don't know until you go here on the Great Lakes. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it. I did not know what it was about until I was doing it.
Yeah.
On the early days of internet, there wasn't a whole lot of content out there that showcased what the Great Lakes had to offer. Every picture I saw was like knee high and like slop, you know, and I'm like, I thought I was getting condemned to hell when I moved here to Michigan, because I married a Michigan local. That's how I ended up out here. My ex-wife Laura, I married her, and that's how I ended up out here, 2009. And yeah, I've been blown away, completely grateful, because I get to meet people like these two here, and they're just two of many, of like super stoked, super real, super Midwest, super kind people. And the Great Lakes, for some reason, I've surfed on, you know, both coasts and other places, and there's something special about the Great Lakes. There really is. And I think it has to do with the people.
I also think, well, for me, Tim is like one of the friendliest surfers I have encountered in the Great Lakes, which is, he's like,
I'm gonna turn red.
I personally call him the friendliest surfer. But that's and I usually don't really want to surf with people.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's rude, but I want to, sometimes I just have my own thing to work out with the water, the waves, and I don't want to have to work it out with other humans. But like, I do appreciate hanging out with some humans sometime, and having some other surfers to talk to once in a while. I start to get a little bit isolated when I'm like actually spending the time to go surfing, but then not talking to anybody about it. So Tim is persistently friendly and somebody you can talk to.
There's so many people that you can learn from with this. And again, like, and I might go back to this like a million times, but like being so fresh to this and seeing the different levels of people at where they're at and why they're doing it. Cause like, you know, a lot of people like to go out when it's in the middle of spring and fairly warm. But like you saw those pictures and she was right next to us out there. There was only like 6 of us out there. And like, when you're there, I like on these days and the sun was out, but it was blowing, like that's a different level of like commitment, you know? So like, you know, whether you're on the first sandbar or you're way out back, like if you're out there on days like this, like, you know, that's legit for sure.
So Sam, you're 16 months in the surfing on the Great Lakes. So tell us a little bit about how that came about for you. Do you have anything to compare to? Have you surfed out on the ocean, or has your surfing journey, it's all Great Lakes?
The first time I ever touched a surfboard was last August. So there's that. And then like, basically like I had a day off of work and I've always loved the beach, like born in Denver. My family is from Michigan, but my dad's from the Upper Peninsula. So I left Denver in 2005 for Marquette, lived there for 6 years, never saw anybody surfing in Marquette. Left then 2005, came to Holland, never saw anybody till last year. And then I was like, because I've always wanted to do it. And I rode a penny board around, like just cruising around and stuff. But once I saw people doing it, like I bought a bodyboard and that wasn't enough. Like literally a week later, I went to the local surf shop that's closed now. And the dude, his name is, what's that dude's name? Tim
Hasma.
Yeah, he was just like, he was super friendly and like told me about a couple different apps and told me what's up with the surfboards and like just gave me like a quick rundown, you know, and that was sweet. And then like I was off. So like, I mean, I probably did what a lot of dudes do, like overthinking my skill level at first. So like I went out and bought a couple 6-foot boards, and like I was gonna Kelly Slater it up on every wave, you know, like, and I didn't know, and I was doing research, but I was like, forget that, like I know what I'm doing. So quickly I got slammed multiple times, and then bought a foam board, you know, and worked my way through that. And somewhere between like the foamy and our 9-foot board and like really getting into this, like I started meeting some people, and Tim was one of the first people that I probably surfed with. Another guy named Mike Jackson, I surfed with him a couple times.
About Lonnie.
Mike
My buddy
Jackson?
Lonnie. What's
I
that?
think I've heard of Michael Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. I've never called him Michael Jackson, and like I'm kind of like I don't know. Like he's a cool dude, but like I could see like maybe that could be like one of those hot button issues. Like, and like he's pretty cool, so like I don't want to touch on that yet. But like maybe if we get to be friendly, you know, like a little more friendly, then I'll drop the Michael Jackson or a little
Oh,
hee
so
on.
we're not talking about King of Pop, Neverland, Michael
I
Okay.
wish I had something. You know what? Think about how many more views my Chill Adventures would get if I could say I surfed with Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Title
You're from
alone.
Gary too. You're
Yeah,
not very far
oh,
from
yeah.
that. Surf
I knew a
Road.
guy in BC. His name was Mike Jackson. So his skate shop that he opened up, he called it Thriller.
Yeah, my buddy, my buddy Lonnie, he made me a 7.6 and a 6.5, and they're both lake boards, so they got a ton of volume. But yeah, like the 9-foot board is like key.
Yeah.
If I would have done a little more research into like lake surfing and, you know, just like the core of it, I probably wouldn't have dropped $700 on 2 6-foot boards that are gone now. But like, you know, you live and you learn. You know, I've dumped 2 GoPros in the lake in that 16 months too. So like there's a learning curve here that I'm hitting multiple times. And it's not just the sandbar, or it's not just my body hitting the sandbar, like things like that. But like the short, like there's so many guys out here that ride shortboards, and they're good too. Like I say so many. I mean, I've seen probably 8 to 10 guys that are on something between 5 and 6 foot on a regular basis. But those guys that are doing it, like, you know, they're going and, you know, they're surfing the waves, you know, and they're awesome. But I gotta go back to him. Like, I don't see anybody riding waves as long as he does. You know, he's got 8 football fields every wave. Just like he pays a toll halfway through because he goes like Indiana and Illinois back. I mean, it's a joke sometimes. Like, I mean, if I wasn't so like understanding and stoked, I would be kind of mad at him a little bit. Like, yeah, a little jealous. Like look at my beard. I've had to step my beard game up to be in this. Like, this is not just going out and buying a wetsuit and going paddle, 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 and then looking cool, you know, like
If
this
you
is
didn't
not.
compare yourself to the Stoke machine, you're only gonna be disappointed in yourself.
Yeah.
Compare
Yeah,
yourself.
you can't.
Find a new bar. Hey Tim, this is sounding an awful lot like a tribute. Would you rather us turn it into a roast?
I don't know. Well, we're gonna get something straight though first. The Stoke machine is the Great Lakes. The Great Lakes are the Stoke machine. I am just the, whatever you want to call it, humble servant of the Stoke machine.
Okay.
So that's the whole thing behind the Stoke machine. The Great Lakes are the world's largest wave pool, I guess.
All right.
You know,
consider
and
yourself at
we've
least
got different places.
okay.
What's
but
that?
Can you at least be like maybe a piston or something in the
That's
Stoke
what I've
machine?
been saying.
A
He's
what?
got to be like part of the engine, or like the stoke that stokes the machine or something. Because like what he links it, he's like, yeah, you got to, because on the good days, this is what it feels like. As someone who's never been to the ocean, he's like, you put a coin in, and some days like it's just like dreamer, dreamer, dreamer. Oh, beautiful nub, dreamer, dreamer. And then some weird stuff happens because we're surfing on a lake. Like, what are we supposed to expect? But then another dreamer comes through. But like even tiny, like there's a ferry that comes by. I can't say where, but like even then you get dreamers out here. And I mean, there's got to be maybe the carburetor. That's not a good nickname.
Yeah.
I think it's something we can collaborate and figure out something. you know.
So Cam, as somebody coming off the ocean for 12 years, I gotta tell you, there's something you've probably never heard of before. It's called a wave period.
Yeah.
What?
A wave period.
Yeah.
This is a period of
But the
time.
3 seconds is the golden one, right? You gotta wait for
Yeah.
3 seconds and then you gotta run to the beach.
It is not.
Gotta
it is
find
not.
rip current, man. You can't get through. I can't get through the shore break. I can't paddle out. I don't. These guys can. Like today, they could paddle out like straight through the middle, but I always had to take the structural current.
See, in Faith, she's directly experienced with the bad effects of such a short period with the drownings that go on here on the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
So
let's explore that a little bit. So Faith, I want to hear about the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project and what's your involvement in that and what is this organization all about?
Well, it's a nonprofit organization and it was started in 2012, 11 or 12-ish, maybe a little bit before, I'm not exactly sure, by Dave Benjamin and Bob Pratt. And the aim was to like lower the amount of drownings in the Great Lakes because, well, first of all, there's like over 100 per year, usually around over 100 per year. And we kind of focus, we do all the Great Lakes, but we kind of focus on Lake Michigan and the lower end of Lake Michigan because those have like their highest concentration of drownings. And we do like a lot of talking to the media and clearing up whenever there is a drowning to clear up like how that could have happened to somebody and what could be done, and work a lot with the families of victims who are just like, how could this possibly happen? My kid was a good swimmer. Like, what can I do to make this never happen to someone else? So we get them together with other families and they and find them a place where they can help. Like so we do a lot of school presentations where we teach basic water safety for in a lake actually, which is different than a pool or a backyard or a bathtub, like all those are important parts of water safety, but there's just not a lot of specific education for lakes where there's waves and currents. And it's surprisingly like 50% of Americans don't have the basic skills to survive falling into water. They can't turn around in the water and they can't climb out. So, and then on the Great Lakes, I mean, there's just even more risk because it's so fun to go to the lake and play around. And just think of like 50% of the people that go don't know how to just survive. And so, and then we also, there's not a lot of
that's 1 in 2 people could be a drowning victim. Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. These stats are real.
So yeah, it can be intense.
I mean, how many did we have around here last summer? Was like a record
I don't
number.
know. Yeah, this summer was like a lot of drownings, almost a record amount of drownings in Lake Michigan because a lot more people went to the beach because of coronavirus. The beaches were still kind of open. You could get outside. My main thing is like I used to be an ocean lifeguard for a while, and so it was like I started out I wanted to be a surfer, and then I got a job as a lifeguard, and they were like the best bosses I ever had. So I was like, well, this is a good job. I'll just keep doing this. So I've just brought my skills back here, and I was like, why don't we have lifeguards here? This is dumb.
Wow. So are you a lifeguard on the beaches in Michigan?
I was the head lifeguard at New Buffalo. They have a lifeguard program. I was for 2 years. I didn't do it last year.
super dangerous beach there too for rip currents, the way it's set up. Yeah.
What causes these drownings? Is rip curls a big one? Is alcohol a big thing sometimes? What are the factors that play into these 100 or so drownings that are happening every year?
Yeah, okay, good question. Yeah, most of the drownings happen not not in like red flag most dangerous conditions, because in those conditions it's kind of obvious that it's dangerous and people don't go in, but they happen. So a lot of them happen when it's kind of like medium sized 2 or 3 foot waves where it's like fun, and then suddenly what happens is there's troughs. You know how like there's a trough and then there's a sandbar and then a trough and a sandbar. So people will not be good at swimming and they'll not realize there's a trough. They step off in the trough and panic. So people panic, and then rip currents, structural currents. A higher percentage of drownings are boys rather than girls, because I think it's just because, you know, like they're more risky. They take more risks.
Why men's car insurance is always higher.
Yeah,
That's
is that true?
Yeah.
Oh,
At least in Canada.
Whatever you did to the volume
something just
is
worked.
completely. The volume is like 100% better now.
So I had my headphones plugged into the microphone jack.
Oh.
So my bad. Like I said, big day. My apologies. So yeah, so boys.
Boys, I think
Boys are risky.
The other thing, when I was actually lifeguarding, one of the main things we constantly were rescuing people for was offshore winds. They would always be in an inner tube, and then suddenly the wind would be like 30 miles per hour offshore, and then you have to go paddle like 1,000 yards and pull them back.
Your involvement with Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project, is this a job of yours, or is this a nonprofit thing you're doing in your spare time?
Yeah. It's a nonprofit. I'm on the board, but I used to go help train lifeguards too. But we don't have enough money to pay anyone. So I would probably do more stuff if I could get paid. I'm totally. Yeah.
What do you guys call it down in the U.S.? Do you have what's like the Bronze Cross? Is the Bronze Cross? Do you have that down there?
No, we don't.
Okay.
Yeah, your stuff is similar to the UK stuff.
Okay.
And also, I lived in the UK when I started lifeguarding. But so I know what it is. But we don't have we're not nearly as organized.
Okay, but you must have some kind of certification process.
Yeah, there's certification for open water, and Red Cross. There is lifeguard. There's like 5 different lifeguard certification schools.
You got like the pool and the beach and surf. Yeah.
They're all different companies, 5 different companies even. There's Red Cross, there's Starguard, there's Ellis, there's YMCA, and like some other one. And then for the beaches, there's USLA, but then it's a really weird, complicated process. They just certify actual beach organizations. You can't be certified as an individual.
Really?
So you have to qualify as a whole beach. Yeah.
That's peculiar. So up here, I don't know in the US, but up here in Canada, for my ISA certification as a surf instructor, we have to have that Red Cross certification.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to have your lifeguard, but you have to have your red or your Bronze Cross, which is at least you've been trained for life saving. So I wonder what the requirement.
So just like CPR.
Yeah, it's a tamed down version of being a lifeguard, basically. Just if something were to go down, you know how to handle it, but it's not our job to sit up on the big chair and watch people. So Cam, let's go over to you for a sec, man. So you've been surfing 16 months, but dude, you're rocking it on the social media channel. I mean, you're very active on there, sharing your adventures. I just put it together a few days ago. C.Hill is chill. So Chill Adventures. Tell us all about it, man. How'd this come to your mind, and how are you liking it so far, and where do you plan to go with it?
Well, I mean, I think I just like how, I mean, it's still like, it's awesome, this sport and what it is, and like driving around looking for waves and like getting shit on and like finding these weird little beaches and when they work and when they don't and who you want to tell. And like that to me is like so sick. Like I've been good at three things my whole life: golf, hockey, and ruining romantic relationships. Once I quit drinking 10 years ago, I stopped ruining romantic relationships. So I was like, I got to find something else, right? So bring in surfing. Like,
It's true. This is true about
Oh,
surfing.
yeah, I know,
it's
right? So,
true.
like,
I'm-
um, yeah, so like just how awesome it is made me want to like video or just document everything that has to do with it. And like, so in that, like, my first real wave is on camera. My girlfriend's first real wave is on camera. Like my dogs are at all these beaches, all up and down the lake. Like her kids' waves, they haven't caught like paddled into waves yet, but like they're surfing and like they've never surfed. And when would they have ever surfed? And like it just feels so good. And like hockey, I was kind of on the way out of that. It was just so draining. And like this is like the exact opposite. By myself with some good people. Like I can't even describe the feeling of riding a wave, like paddling into it and catching it, and then just like, yeah, it's just like, I mean, it's amazing. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Dude, I'm from Canada and I don't even play hockey. So,
I mean, and I'm from Denver and I don't snowboard. So like
okay.
like, yeah, or ski for that matter. But yeah, so like like that was why we started like documenting everything, and then it just kind of turned into like, well, we got all this cool stuff. And like, I mean, I think it's awesome to be able to look back and like watch your first wave, you know. And we've done it numerous times, and like in my head, our first wave, mine at least, like it was 1,000 feet. And then I watched the video and it's like maybe a little over knee high. But like that day I was like, I didn't even paddle out, bro. Like it's firing out here. And it's like, you know, like like they're breaking on my chest, you know. And it's like, but it was like I was scared. And it was like when I caught it, like I'm on video, like like, and it was like the best thing I ever did. And every time we have good waves, like that's my best day surfing. Legitimately, like just the other day, we haven't had rights in so long, and like I can't turn right, but I can turn backside and just I'm gone, and like it's amazing. But like to your other point, like putting that stuff out and editing it good, and that's hard, you know, it's hard. And like my family and like the group of friends, like they're a tough crowd, so like I mean, they're not gonna give me any love if they don't like it. And Tim talk shit all the time about what I put out. And like again, like I'll video myself in quadruple over ankle, just full on shore, no one out, or packed beach in the summer, just like poopy little fish farts. And I'm gonna have just as much fun as I did today, freezing my ass off with a couple people. Like, I mean, like this is what people don't tell you. When you have a nice beard and you go to take off your wetsuit, it doesn't work right. And then God forbid you get your wetsuit off. You know where all that freezing cold water is dripping? Like these are things that people don't tell you. But I mean, that's what I think I was put here to do. Like give everybody the dirty down low. Sometimes you're out in the lineup and a dirty diaper might float by you, but like that's what lake surfing is about, man. That's what surfing is about. You gotta learn to dodge the diapers in life. And you know what, like I said, like I feel like surfing was, if I would have been doing this my whole life, I don't know what would have happened. Like I could be the surf cheech, the surf chong maybe. Like I don't know. This is like a religious experience. The closest thing to anything. Like it changed my life. I hated camping. I will camp in the car, smell like firewood, just to be the first one at the beach now. It's changed everything. I was a city boy. I got a hat collection and a shoe collection. I'm not a camper, but now I could light a fire. I'm not going to do it with sticks and rocks, but I'll light one.
Wow, man. Hey, surfing is a lot of things to a lot of people, and hey, man, if it means, dirty diapers to you, then hell, I support you.
Dirty Pampers all day, man.
But
That was what I was gonna name the channel, but Chill Adventures rolls off the tongue a little bit better than Dirty Pampers.
I mean, I think the big common thread with surfing is everyone I talk to, we've all had that sort of born again experience, if you will, or like when the stoke, like I imagine the stoke like entering your soul, like
Exactly.
it's irreversible. You can't turn it off. You can get amped up about a lot of things, but surfers just, it dominates your life. It's part of every facet. It's in your conversations. I mean, I don't think I was in Ontario for longer than a minute, and it's like, oh, he's the surfer dude. Like, look at his van. It's got a bunch of boards in it. Like, it just, yeah, it takes over, hijacks your life in the best way.
Yeah, and like my dad was a professional caddy on the PGA Tour, so like golf is like ingrained in me, and like I played hockey since I was 10, and I'm 34 now, and like I can't compare the two to it.
Yeah.
Like as far as like a sport goes, and like those are the things that I love to do, but like this is like literally, it's something different. And then like, I mean, to go back to what you were talking about, like why I started filming it, like I think somebody like that just starts out and like, I mean, I'm out in a lot of different stuff, so I feel like I'm getting the full experience of this stuff. And like, I mean, people that don't do it, I think they should. And like, definitely do it the right way, but like it's amazing. Like, do I see everybody picking up trash on the beach? No, but do I see surfers picking up trash on the beach? Yes.
Yeah.
Do I see like random people pulling people out of the water? No, but do I see surfers doing it? Yes. And then like even some of like kind of the douchey guys around here, like they don't really hold a candle to some of the guys that I played hockey with that were a little bit off kilter. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's just I can't explain it. Like what you just said, the stoke, like whatever it is, like it got me.
So, dude, the double ankle height waves, I'm sure you take a lot of shit for that on the internet. I've even seen certain Facebook groups that say, like, if you're posting ankle high waves, like, don't post it here. To me, like, honestly, a wave's a wave. Like,
Yeah,
that sensation of riding the wave, honestly, is what it is for me. And go ahead.
Started surfing. It was in Wales. That's still my favorite beach in the world. But magic seaweed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I posted all these pictures of waves to it, and like nobody looked at them because I was really excited about these tiny waves in the distance and putting pictures. It could have been like a whole website called Craft Wave Photography.
Yeah. But in our defense, and we know this better than anybody, the waves are always bigger when you're in them. And Cam, like, another thing I've noticed with your videos, dude, is, I mean, I've gotten in trouble just for naming like a town that I went surfing in, let alone the break that's there. I mean, you're naming places like right and left. I'm going to Shoehorn Bay or whatever it is. Like,
they're all made up.
Okay, like how are you?
You got the skinny on what this boy's up to.
They're all made up. Yeah, and like I mean,
spoof.
Yeah, it's all a joke.
Okay.
Yeah, I there's some people that are around, like they just take this to a different level of like not funness, and I don't understand it. Like, I stopped putting those videos out in the surf pages for like one group of people like that shouldn't see me like tell some random idiot that I'm gonna, punch him in the face. Like there's a group of people that are never gonna watch my stuff, but then they also like they want to be a part of the group and they're there for the right reasons and they shouldn't have to see that. So at some point I will again, but I think I'm gonna wait because I mean I mean, I'm trying to be politically correct right now, but like I'll go out and see some of these certain people like after they want to say things on the social media and they can't paddle into a wave. So like when I see stuff like that, it makes me feel okay with people saying whatever they want. 'Cause it's gonna happen no matter what. Like and like this for me has like changed so much and like I mean it's like everyone can hate everything that I do. And I would still like do it just because of like how I can like just the feeling that I get when I'm out there today, freezing cold, like and right now I'm just like because tomorrow there's gonna be more and like we've been out I drugged Tim out 2 days ago for like full onshore poo-poo. And we had fun, like everybody wants to surf those nice clean little knee-high whatevers, but like when me and Tim are getting 150 yards out of garbage, like that's what I put my stock into. When we're out with, you know, people like Faith and like she's got all her little straps on her wetsuit are like caked in ice, like that's legit. Like you can't forget that. And like we don't see all these people out there.
Cam, sounds like you found your niche, man. Shitty ankle high waves are your niche.
I mean, and like no one will be out there.
Exactly.
That'll be empty.
It's great, yeah. And going back to the hate comment, like there is enough hate in the world, especially right now, like everything's at the surface. I mean, we don't need that. And honestly, I've been very caught off guard and disappointed by some of that jargon on the Facebook groups. And in fact, it's sparked my own. I've been working with an artist and he's created some pretty awesome branding. I wasn't going to talk about this yet, but I'll just mention it. We're working on something called the All Canadian Surf and Sup Club. I know you guys are American. You're welcome to join. You don't have to be Canadian. It just means that you want to surf some Canadian waves. But if you've ever heard of our very famous band, the Tragically Hip, they had a song called the All Canadian Surf Club. So I wanted to start this thing called the All Canadian Surf and Sup Club. And I'm working with an artist. He is making some really awesome, like sort of little characters, and we're making this really cool thing out of it. But it's going to be a community page, Cam, where you're going to get in shit if you give other people shit. It is not a place for that. Ankle high waves, whatever you want. People are giving me, like with this podcast, if I put a picture of you guys up on Monday, by Thursday, people are scrolling past that picture. So I like to refresh it, you know, every day is a little too much, but at least let me post about the same episode twice on your page. No, like there are some people, they get really bent about that. And it's like, what's the big deal? I'm providing content for you. Like, don't you like to just scroll down? I mean, I don't see the big deal. People get all worked up about it. It's really, I don't know. What do you guys think about it?
Oh, I mean, I reached out to you and I was like, yo, you put your video up because like we were
oh yeah
at the same time and like that. I mean, it was ruining both of our thing and like we aren't competing, but at the same time, like we want people to watch our shit at the same time. So why do that? And I reached out to you. You were like, cool, thanks. And then that was that, right? Yeah. And then so like and like I guess my thing is like I don't care if you can't surf. I don't care if you just started. I mean, like I reached out to Tim on Stoke Machine just because he tells everybody where the fuck to go. And I was like, what's up, dude? Like, you know, it was like a little bit intimidating, but then like when he called me and like I heard his voice and like got to talk to him, like, oh, like, all right, so like this is how it goes. Like, am I like Tim? Absolutely not. Like Tim is the kind of guy to start a Facebook page like you're talking about. I'm the kind of guy to feed into all the bullshit and get into it. And like, I'm trying to change, believe me, but it's hard, man. It's deep inside me and it's tough to do. But yeah, like I don't care what if you're a dick, like that's where I have no patience. Like I said, I quit drinking 10 years ago. So like all that like negative bullshit, it's like no thing. You know,
I'm with you.
So yeah.
Hey, so you know, and Tim, if I understand correctly, you're sober too, aren't you?
37 years without a drink.
Holy smokes. And I'm coming up on 10 years in July. Look at this.
Congratulations.
Three sober male Great Lakes surfers. So, Faith, going out to the bars after this or what?
No, but I'm like very familiar with that stuff though. But I used to go to like Al-Anon meetings. You know what those
Okay.
are?
Yeah, for family.
Are you serious? Oh, it's for the friends and family.
Yeah.
Family of alcoholics, and so yeah, I read all
It can
the
be just as
books.
hard. Like honestly, like it's so deep in my family, like both sides, but not everybody, you know. So like we have a lot of like, you know, now that I'm on the other side and I can see like my aunts and uncles and some of my cousins, because I don't have any brothers or sisters, and my mom and dad are both like deep into it, better now. But it's like it can be worse on them than because people like us, we're in it, you know,
Fun.
like yeah, or you know, just so ignorantly blasted that you can't figure it out. But like, you know, you guys have to deal with the emotions and the anger and everything like right there.
So Faith, I want to say that was just a joke. No shame in the fact that you drink. In fact, I'm jealous because it just means that you can handle it. So it's just it's kind of unusual that I'm talking to two other sober guys. So I had to kind of.
I know, but I took it to a serious. Took it back to
Yeah.
the serious.
Well, no, hey, getting serious. I mean, I can get as serious as it gets. When I recognized my own drinking, I was seeing the drinking in my stepfather was starting to grow too. And so that reflection of him was coming out on me, and I'm like, I don't want to be like that. And I loved this guy so much, and he was my hero growing up. He was so good to me. And to see someone who was stable your entire life suddenly fall into that disease, and I mean, what does it take for someone to go there? You know, and I don't want to get into that. He had some stuff that happened, but as real as it gets, he passed away in February, just before COVID. He got as hammered as you can get one night and didn't wake up the next day. So that's as real as it gets. And I haven't really shared that on this show, but hey, I'm getting raw today myself. It actually feels kind of good. But I work in this stuff, so it's actually very healing for me to be working with other people who are struggling. But man, is it ever vicious. Like for anybody who thinks it's just a leisure activity, it can ruin your life and ruin families.
For the scary power of alcohol.
Yeah.
Just like the respect and the fear for the ocean and the waves, but like a healthy fear.
Yeah.
Way to bring it back, Faith. Way to bring it back. Good segue.
Except you keep surfing.
Yeah. Now, hey, maybe you guys want to speak to this, and Tim, maybe pipe in, especially when I'm watching Great Lakes surfing videos from Michigan in particular. It's a very common thread to, oh, we're going to have a beer with the boys after. Like it's sort of part of the culture. So how does that work for you guys? Are you totally cool with all that, or you know, some caution there, or what's your take on that?
I've been to some real wild bonfires.
Yeah.
Yep. So I've had to put a few people to bed.
Okay. So you've done some babysitting then.
Oh yeah, but you know, I think eventually most people I've seen they kind of they figure it out.
Yeah.
Most are lucky to figure it out because their support group around them gently lets them know how they're blowing it. And it's hard though, because maybe that's somebody who's not going to say spiritually advanced, but maybe they haven't done any shadow work, or they haven't gone within, or they don't know themselves very well. The idea of of not being drunk and facing life on its own terms and facing your own stuff, you know, because you're not numb to it anymore. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. And I think people here in the Midwest, it's drinking's kind of embedded in the culture, almost like it's a sport. You know? And I'm not saying that the coast don't have it, because I can go, yeah, I can tell plenty of stories about the coast, but I think here the things don't move as fast as they move out on the West Coast and maybe Florida and some places on the East Coast. And so, like I said, their support groups are there for them to help them through what they need help through. There's a support group for them. They don't have to go it alone. And that's the thing I've seen out on the coast, that if you're not drinking and you're not going to the bars, then you're going to be missing out on a lot of opportunity in life. You know, the networking that goes on, you know, at the bar, at happy hour, at lunchtime. And there's probably some of that goes on here in the Midwest, but I think here in the Midwest, it's there's generally a support group that will help walk people through it. Like, you want to quit, we'll help you quit, sort of thing. Not like, hey, what are you quitting for? I can't say the words. I'm not gonna, because we're trying to keep kid friendly. The hazing that goes on, like out on the West Coast, you tell people you're not going to party, and your friends they're giving you a real hard time for not going out and getting wasted with them. So I haven't seen that here. And within our surf culture, I think it's on a pretty low, it's on a super like low, like key sort of thing. We don't see people wasted in front of the camera and saying we're going for a surf, or you know, or we got done surfing and they're freaking, you know, 3 sheets to the wind. Maybe we're growing out of that as a culture, as a humanity. Because I've heard stories, though, of the grapevine. You know, there's been some pretty wild times here around the Great Lakes within the surf community. But I personally have not witnessed any of that.
Participated.
Yeah.
I have not participated in those.
Yeah.
So far.
I mean, I've only been to a few shindigs where people had to intervene with what was going on. You know, like had to remove somebody from the party, you know, because they were being they had become a liability. You know? And I hope those people that are in our scene, our Great Lakes surf scene, that they're getting better. Sort of thing. I'm here for them. You know, pretty much it's around. People know if they need somebody to talk to, they can always message me on Facebook, or they can call me. I will be there, you know, for them, you know, for that. And in sort of a big brother, you know, sort of way.
Wow, this podcast took a turn. So hey, if you're listening to this and you're struggling with alcohol, it sounds like you can talk to Tim, you can talk to me, talk to Cam, whoever you're comfortable with. Reach out to any of us. Whatever scale of beard you're into, you can take your choice, and we'll coach you through it.
Yeah, you might want to take Faith before me, but
okay.
Whatever.
Well, and Faith can rescue you while you're drowning and you're drunk, so she's a good resource too. So hey, One of the sorry, go ahead, Tim. Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yeah.
My first time ever getting run over by somebody surfing
Okay.
was at Trestles in northern San Diego, southern Orange County.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have. We went up on like on a Saturday, early Saturday morning. We paddled out even before the sun came up. We got up there early to catch a south swell that was coming in, and we were out at the break called Churches, because you've got San Onofre, you got Churches, you got lowers, uppers, Cottons, and I don't even know if I'm supposed to say that name, but anyways, the first time that I got ran over was by someone on a longboard, and they were drunk, wasted.
Wow.
And that was many years ago. I'd probably been surfing 2 or 3 years. I'd never been ran over. I learned how to surf in San Diego, so I knew how to deal with crowds, dealt with crowds. And that was a whole another experience, was like somebody running me over and not caring, and they were wasted. The guy didn't even say he was sorry. So I never equated surfing and drinking as being
correlated.
together.
Yeah.
Even though I know there's a whole lot of people that it goes hand in hand, like surfing and drinking. That's I don't know. On the pro surfing tour, we started seeing sponsors, alcohol, companies sponsoring, big surf contests and whatnot. And I don't consider that necessarily healthy for the Groms to see that that's our culture. That's what our culture is about. There's enough stoke. You don't have to get wasted to have more stoke. I think it takes away from it. But I don't judge people who drink. But if you're drinking, you run me over, you're gonna hear something.
Yeah, for sure. And Tim, when you were talking earlier about the alcohol being sort of ingrained in the Midwest culture, it doesn't matter who you talk to. I'm Canadian, I'm Australian, I'm Irish, I'm from Michigan. Everyone makes that claim that drinking is a part of what we do, right? You don't hear people using that same amount of pride over I don't know, feeding starving children or something productive,
That's a good point.
So, hey, maybe a little lighter topic, guys. Where'd the name Captain Aloha come from?
I was asking Tam, it was the whole stoke machine, he's not stoke machine thing, right? And then, did I ask for a nickname, or did you just give? I can't remember. I don't think I asked for one because I have so many for myself. But maybe, oh, you know what? He said he wanted me to be Captain Stoke, and I was like, no, you're the stoke machine. So we can't. It's not like we're gonna be the same thing.
Correction, carburetor. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, you got to be the carburetor. I was like,
used to be Captain Stoke.
Well, I mean, what I gave him Mr. Kuchenheimer. I've called him that a couple times, but he was like, yeah, you can be Captain Stoke, and I was like, no, you're the stoke machine. He goes, I'm not the stoke machine, but you can be Captain Aloha. And I was like, Captain Aloha? I've never said aloha in my life.
That makes it even better.
He was like, no, you can be Captain Stokely. And I was like, no, I'll be Captain Aloha. So, and it stuck. I've really embraced it. My other really good nickname is Cam Hill Toe. And that was coined back in.
Okay. I just put that together. Got it.
I mean, Cam Hill towing, yeah. No stop. We'll take your car right out of the ditch, no problem. But anyway, so that came from a hockey. Actually, it was one of my really good hockey friends thought of that one. And then it was even funnier because I was driving to Zamboni at the time, and my buddy and all the guys I played beer league with, they would be like, they call me Cam Hill Toe. It was funny. So then the kids, the squirts and the peewees, they had no clue what it meant. They thought I might have been a tow truck driver. So then they would, when those kids started calling me Cam Hill Toe, even their parents couldn't deny that it was kind of funny. And like when these kids are all in high school now, and I know that some of them think back on that and go, yeah, they go, that Cam Hill Toe was a funny guy. Like,
Wow.
looked like he was homeless, and he might have smelled like ramen from time to time, but that was funny. Like, that was classic, you know.
So Cam, I mean, you got a cool look, dude. You got the beard, you got the hair. Like, I'm pretty envious of the hair. Like, I started balding at 19. But the coolest thing you got going for you, man, are those onesie bathing suits. Keep it up.
Though I only have the one.
Oh, well, it is awesome.
I know. And you know what? I need, you know, if Catch Surf watches this, you know, there's my in right there. Like, what does one person just like it, or does everybody like it? And this is the only one that'll say it. I think it's the latter, but I appreciate it, you know. And like, pink is my color, along with neon green, fuchsia, magenta, mango, tangelo. We can go on, but pink is my color for sure.
Absolutely love it.
You know,
So
I thought you were gonna say my dogs, because everybody says my dogs are the coolest part about me. So I'm glad it was something that's like not an actual living thing.
no, man, I like that bathing suit. So here's the thing about nicknames. So I played football in grade 13 or grade 12, and but I was a big wrestling fan. So I only played football because I got recruited by the coach. I mean, I really wasn't a team player, but it was good for me. I kind of came out of my shell that year playing football, and I was good at it. And I was never good at sports. So football was a healthy thing for me. But anyway, I was a big wrestling fan. And at the time, in the late 90s, there was a guy named Hardcore Holly. So I did a backyard wrestling movie for our communications technology class, and I coined my wrestler name. I was Hardcore Hyatt. And I freaking loved that name. And so I go to the football game, and there's my mom on the sidelines going, "Number 58, Hardcore Hyatt. That's my son. Woo!" And so I was really embarrassed. But hey, man, the team heard that name and it stuck. Yeah. I've been hardcore ever since. And then, you know, a year or two later, or no, later the season, that's when I got into partying, and then I became really hardcore. And then the name kind of took on a new meaning. But then later on, when people started calling me softcore because I sobered up and started to chill out. But now that I've returned to Ontario, my good friends, they all call me hardcore, and it has more meaning to me these days, because it actually, to me, it's more about overcoming and being hardcore in your beliefs and what you stand for. But here's the thing. You can't, or maybe you can, but what's your take on this? I come back into town, it's like I'm Derik Hyatt. Like, I can't go around saying, "Hey, everybody, I'm hardcore." Like, it just seems a little weird. Like, no, nicknames are given to you by somebody and they start calling you that. So
you are now.
The struggle is real.
We'll help you out with that. That's out of bag.
You are Hardcore Hyatt now.
Okay, right on.
I need something else to post at 4 a.m. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate it.
Okay, you're very welcome.
You hashtag Hardcore Hyatt.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I'll look for it. I hope to be trending on Twitter by the morning.
All right.
Well, not sure who really uses Twitter, but maybe that's where I'll be trending then as the first time. Yeah.
I've never Twittered, but now that Trump's not going to be Twittering, you got a better chance than you did 3 days ago.
Hoekstra? Then I don't know. That could have different connotations.
That's true.
So girls can't be hardcore, or can they be hardcore?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, in the 90s, the word hardcore had a real connection to pornography, but I don't think that's. I don't think that's really.
I didn't connect that either.
No.
Yeah, I don't think today that, like, when people were calling me back then, yeah, some people thought it was raunchy, but now I think hardcore is synonymous with, like, you just give it your all. It doesn't necessarily mean super kinky sex, but it can mean that. I mean,
yeah, the internet ruined that for you, for sure.
Yeah, don't go Google searching that. Yeah.
I thought of it more as like my friends call me hardcore because I did so much exercise, or like lifted so much weights and stuff like that. Although I
Yeah,
probably
exactly.
would, like,
Exactly.
smash people on the soccer field and stuff.
Like
But I,
legit hardcore.
Yeah.
Like hardcore
Yeah.
Holly actually was.
Yeah.
but I like Captain Aloha, man. I think that's a good name for you. How about you, Faith? Any nicknames we don't know about?
No, not really. I think my last nickname was Faithy Baby. And that was like when I was 8.
Faithy Baby?
Yeah, my best friends.
Faithy Baby.
We had a Faithy Baby.
Faithy Baby, okay.
So that was great.
All right. Well, hey, that'll be trending by morning too.
This was fun to say, I think.
Right on, right on. So Tim, like I'm watching you here, man, with these guys, and you know, I know you're a humble dude and stuff, but man, it's pretty powerful to me to see you guys sitting there, and it's like you got these kind of like two students almost in a way. Like it's a pretty it seems like you guys got a pretty cool little crew going there.
And there's more like she's got friends, he's got friends, I got friends.
Okay.
You could probably spend the next 5 years interviewing so many characters here on the Great Lakes that have their own stories, you know, that are fully worthy of like sharing, you know, what they've been through, how they got where they are, you know, what their outlook is on life, you know, what they're stoked about. These guys are just two good people, and they charge when people are at home knitting.
Nice.
So, you know, the today in the water, what, 6 people in the water, maybe?
Well, it was just us for like an hour and a half at least.
Yeah.
Just the 3 of us for like an hour and a half, and then like 5 other people showed up all of a sudden.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people that like surfing when it's this cold. It's just
It was us and some ducks. There were some really interesting ducks.
Yeah.
Out there.
I like them.
Yeah, I've noticed the crowds really thin out. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty much all alone most of the time, or a handful of other people. Yeah. So, hey, I should have asked you this at the very beginning of the show, but so I'm the Canadian here. You guys are stationed in Holland, Michigan, you said?
I'm Holland.
Okay, so where is Holland in relation to Grand Haven?
Okay, so I'm sure in Canada you've got the towns are mostly that are on the lakes have a port or an inlet, you know what I'm saying, where the ships have come in and out, and so they've all set up business around there. So this coast, the west coast of Michigan is the same way. Every outlet has got a city or town on it. Grand Haven is north of us. The next town below us is Saugatuck. South Haven's below that. St. Joe's below that. Muskegon is north of Grand Haven, and then you don't really have a major city or town on the water until you get up to Pentwater, and then it's Ludington. So it's all a series of outlets that what these towns are, where you'll find surfers too.
So how far of a drive is it from Holland to Grand Haven?
Like 20 miles, maybe, about.
Where?
From Holland to Grand Haven.
Holland to Grand Haven is about 20 miles. So
yeah, you guys are still speaking American to me. Can you translate that into kilometers?
like 75 sticks, like end to end.
Okay, I know. 20 miles. All right, so that's not too bad. So like a half an hour drive, is that about right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, half hour drive.
You can only go 40 to 50 miles per hour too. Wait, that's also American talk.
Yeah.
I kind of have a larger range where I surf.
Oh, okay. Let's hear about that.
I'm not sure if I've settled on a home port yet.
Oh,
Like, gonna make South Haven maybe my home spot, but
you're a drifter.
well, I'm drifting a little bit. I'm drifting.
Nice.
I go
You got-
all over because there's not always ankle high waves at my local spot, so I can't surf the best waves always. Like anybody could do that, you know. So I have to go. I have to as an entrepreneur, as a flourishing surf business owner and Chill Adventures, I'm forced to spend $20 a day driving looking for ankle high waves. And like we're lucky because there could be just beautiful full on shore, complete wind chop, ankle high, just poop anywhere within north 30 minutes, south 30 minutes. I could drive like that's how lucky we are. Like in all honesty, like there's so many cool spots to surf.
So have you guys ever come up and surfed any double ankle high waves in Canada?
No, I've never been out of the country.
Really?
Yeah.
I've gone in Lake Huron, but not in Canada. So we're kind of like you could almost reach it out and see it across the water.
Okay, so 2 no's and
Me?
Yeah.
I've surfed Port Renfrew, and I've
Oh.
surfed Sombrio.
okay, so out in BC on the ocean,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not in the Great Lakes. You haven't been. Okay,
Not
so
on the Great. There are some spots that are on the bucket list. It's just a matter of getting up there to get to them. Can't talk about it. I'd have to kill you afterward.
absolutely.
But they are actually some of the best waves on the Great Lakes, according to your friend, my friend, Paul Kevlin. So,
Nice. Yeah.
who is probably one of the most well-traveled surfers here on the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
Now, he may not travel like he used to because he's got wife and kids, and he's very active, family dad, sort of thing. But before he got married to Ruchi, that man, well, he was all over the place.
Yeah.
That's how you met him. He was up in Canada surfing where you guys were. And Paul has actually turned me on. He's been kind of an uncle, you know what I mean, or brother. And he's turned me on to a lot of what possibilities existed here on the Great Lakes as far as quality waves. And I'm super grateful to Paul for that. Yeah. You're gonna have to interview him at some point.
Well, here's the thing. Like, first of all, next time you're talking to Paul, ask him if I can ever get my surfboard back. It's only been about 20 years. He took a board of mine to repair, and that was 2004 probably. And so I was connected with him on Facebook for a while, and now ever since I got the podcast going, I've wanted Paul and Dean on my show, and we're friends on Facebook, but I can't get answers out of those guys. So I don't know if they're just avoiding me or what. So if you're telling them, if you see him, tell him I'd love to have him on the podcast, and I'd love to get my board back if he has it, even if it's still broken, only because it's my first surfboard. And it's an up north longboard that was shaped by Dean. Paul and Dean are integral to my surfing journey. Them and one other gentleman named Mark Collins, who is the guy who I saw surfing for the first time on the lake. And he's the guy who said to me, take that sail off your surfboard. And so, take that sail off your windsurfing board and just try prone surfing. And I did. Practically ripped my nipples off from that hard grit, but man, when I got up, I was stoked. And so Paul and Dean, I got my first board. It was one of Dean's up north longboards, and those guys would come over here. Do you know another guy, Emilio Marino?
Yes.
Yeah,
He's a good guy, super good guy.
I want to get him on the podcast too. So he was a buddy of mine, and he came up to my hometown quite a bit too.
Emilio actually makes it out here to this side of the state to go surfing.
Yeah.
I've surfed with him this summer, but he's one of those people he likes good waves. So he'll show up, like the waves are really good. Emilio mysteriously shows up. So Emilio's in the water, and that's actually kind of the way it goes. Like I've seen her like up in the Upper Peninsula and down in Indiana. Like when the surf's good, Faith is usually somewhere around. Since Captain Aloha's new to this whole thing, I'm trying to broaden his horizons on like what's like possible out there. I've still yet to like drag him up to the UP surfing, which is kind of a shame because he lived in Marquette for years and did not surf, did not take advantage of what goes on up there.
Didn't know Surfer Dan?
No, my family does, but again, like that was in the middle of my drinking days. So,
Okay.
It was good that I didn't. And even if I did see these people, that would have never made the connection in my head. But I mean, it is a shame. Nonetheless, it's a shame because
With alcohol and
yeah,
hockey,
oh yeah,
maybe.
yep, booze and hockey is my thing. But yeah, I mean,
And bikinis.
yeah, man.
It's not my-
So in the words of your new president, here's the deal. I have been on a 4-year travel ban to the US ever since Trump banned the Muslims. I banned myself. So I have not been to the States in 4 years as a sort of
You're not missing anything.
a protest and my own values. So now, as of today, Inauguration Day, the ban is lifted. I may once again travel to the US of A. However, now we have COVID. So if it's not one thing, it's another. So I promise you, when COVID is through and we're allowed, or whatever it is that we're allowed to travel again and things are safer, I want to come down there and surf with you guys, with the idea that I hope to see you guys up here in Canada someday.
Mi casa, su casa, man.
Okay, yeah. You got a crash pad, so no worries there.
There's depending, because it's not just a straight line of beach, for 100 miles. The lake curves, just like your shoreline where you're at is super. Our shoreline's not as varied as yours, but we're usually able to find like the clean corner where the wind is side shore, and there's good swell. So all of our outlets have pier heads on them, and depending on the lake levels and whatever the currents have been, there's generally good waves, depending on whatever the swell direction. Over here, though, what we don't do well with is west. If the wind's like straight out of the west here, one of the only people that you'll find in the water is Captain Aloha. He'll be in the water on the west swells. Now, if it's huge in west, there's a couple places to surf, but we're talking like when the buoys are like 12, 14, 16 feet. There's a couple spots that are, we'll call them novelty waves. But for the most part, usually if there's a west contingent in the winds here, it makes our surf super junky. So
I need to go around to the bottom or the top of the lake.
Yeah.
Or maybe the other side.
Yeah.
If you have a time to go to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I've never been. I've been to Michigan, and in terms of the Midwest, I've been to Michigan and Illinois, but never up. Wisconsin and Minnesota. That'd be great. Go up to the Elbow and some of those other spots.
Chevegas.
Yeah, Sheboygan. Yeah.
Yep.
The Malibu of the Midwest, as Larry Williams calls it.
Yeah, he likes to claim that, but one of our breaks south of here, I don't know. So.
Which one?
Yeah, it rivals their wave. So, but we'll let them have Malibu of the Midwest. We have ours. So.
Okay, what do you have? Like Michigan Pipeline or something?
Holland Pipeline.
But is that a pipeline as in a wave, or like an actual real pipeline that could leak oil into the water?
No,
Probably.
talking about the wave. We're talking about the wave
Yeah.
that breaks out at the end of our pier when the conditions are right.
Okay.
It is top to bottom. It is top to bottom. It's a pretty serious wave, but that was when the lake levels were lower. So just a screaming barreling left, and sometimes Holland's known as Ubalam. So Malibu backwards, because the lefts you can get 300-yard long lefts here. But on any of the outlets on any of the given days with the right swell and wind combination, you can get that same thing, and it's pretty much dependent on the wave period. So
Okay.
we here on this side of the lake, me personally, I always look for 6 seconds or greater on the period before I start getting excited and posting up a surf forecast on Stoke Machine. If the period is like 6 seconds or less, I usually won't put up a surf forecast, because you could get to the beach, you could drive from the other side of the state and get to the beach and be completely skunked, and you spend all that money and that time driving. I don't want to do that for people. So just the wave mechanics over here, there's the people on our side of the state, we know when the wind has a west component on it, and if the period's not, above 6 seconds, well, go cut firewood or go knit or, go
Yeah,
paint your wall or
for sure.
go make caramel corn. So
Nice.
Yeah.
I never thought of doing that, but okay, now I do. Hey, Tim, so what is the mission statement of Stoke Machine?
the mission statement.
Yeah, what are you all about on that platform? What are you trying to get through?
Good choice.
The Great Lakes are a stoke machine. I mean, that's yeah. The Great Lakes are a stoke machine. That's the mission statement on Stoke Machine. I mean, I think Cam said it before. We call it. It's when it turns on. It's like somebody took a roll of quarters and fed the wave machine, and you come out of the water completely spent because you've had your fill. Where, I mean, I've surfed on the coast before, and you can get good days and still you've got a really big itch because you didn't catch enough waves, because there were too many people in the water and waiting for sets and the tide to do its thing. But here, when the wind blows right and it blows at the top of the lake and you're at the bottom of the lake, you got surf all day. You can have 3 sessions. You'll spend 8 to 10 hours in the water, and when you're done, that itch is, you're satisfied.
Yeah.
You're satiated.
So I get what you're saying, but something drives that. I get the vibe from you, though, that you're all about sharing that stoke. You're not protectionist, like hiding the fact that we can surf the Great Lakes. It seems like you want to share that and get others stoked. Am I correct to think that way?
Yeah, I am, but I'm not okay with naming spots on social media, like putting the surf spots on blast.
Okay.
Because I figure if you've got that burning desire in you to be a surfer, to learn how to surf, that you'll find your way to the beach. And we leave enough crumbs, like everybody leaves enough crumbs, and we leave a pretty good trail that they'll be able to find me or him or whoever, a group of us somewhere hunkered down next to one of the pier heads. And
That's cool.
And we all talk about spots around the bonfires, in the parking lots. Information is freely shared. We just don't share it on social media because there's been people that have come in and befriended people, and they've made their buck off of it. And there's people saying that it'll never be like the coast. We're starting to see some pretty heavy crowds during the summertime now.
Okay.
Just a couple weeks ago, because somebody paddled out that is new to surfing. They're super aggressive. They're super stoked on it, but they got in the way and they were run over, and 3 of their vertebrae were crushed.
Ooh.
So there's accidents happening. It's a safety factor. There's not the proper etiquette's not being shared from the surf shops. I know Third Coast used to give a pamphlet, like if you bought a board in a wetsuit, like right by the register, there's that they made a pamphlet with like surf etiquette, basically like,
Yep.
guy, put this back on the peak, don't drop in, this and that. But also around the Great Lakes, part of that etiquette was you just don't name spots out on social media. Because there's companies like Magic Seaweed has already come along, and there's spots that they have listed on there that you used to have an invite to be able to get there, or be very I'm not going to say brave, but step out of your element, pack your vehicle. For us, 8-hour drive to UP, drive up there on a wing and a prayer, and hopefully you're not going to get skunked. But there's Magic Seaweed, they've somehow gotten a couple spots that they put on there that were sacred, and now you have people coming up there who didn't have a clue, and the first thing they do is like they are taking a video and making a video, and they're like, look at me at this limestone point break, this blah 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 blah. And there's people like Paul Kevlin and others around the Great Lakes. They had to work for the wages that they got. All that money put in the gas tank. We're talking thousands of dollars in the gas tank. We're talking hundreds or thousands of man hours driving, white knuckle, through blizzards to like figure out a surf spot, to just go and share it out and openly with everybody who wants to exploit it for their own whatever, their ego or their business, or they want to make a chunk of change because they want to write a book about all the different surf spots and everything. Their capitalist part of them comes out, and all it does is going to make it so that the people that are willing to go up to those spots, that have been willing to go up to those spots, aren't going to want to go to those spots anymore, because you show up and there's 30 vehicles there and 50 people in the water, and people are running each other over. Your boards are getting dinged. People are getting hurt. It causes bad vibes. I mean, that's about what it comes down to. Overcrowded lineups cause bad vibes, and that's not what the Great Lakes surfing scene is about. It's not about bad vibes. And so not posting the surf spots on social media is a way of alleviating bad vibes. Like,
Gotcha.
People know if you go to Sheboygan, you're going to be surfing in a crowd. If people know if you're going to St. Joe, you're going to be surfing in a crowd. And there's a couple I'm sure you've got your spots too, like that are packed. You've got all kinds of people in the water. I don't know if you've got the kind of mayhem that we have in our lineups, but there's sometimes mayhem because it's not just surfers. We got surfers, boogie boarders, kayakers, stand-up paddle boarders. Did I already say kiteboarders? People on jet skis, surf kayaks. We're talking like,
yeah, I suppose when there's like all those shops in the town that start selling the cheap versions of surfboards and boogie boards, and then people can just try it and not know the etiquette or not know anything about safety, and then we don't have lifeguards either.
yes,
And then so there's no regulation of separating like surfboards from people, or like good surfers, but they don't know, like, so then Yeah, it's probably.
But
dangerous.
sometimes you're going to get somebody who innocently wants to authentically surf but doesn't know any better. And you know, it's a chance for some education, and I'm sure you see that. Like, I'm sure you've also.
I was that. And
I
Yeah.
was that too. I mean,
yeah,
I
true.
like
That's a tough thing. You want people to like have a nice time when they're trying to
Yeah.
learn too.
Yeah.
but when I was learning, I wanted to be left alone.
Mm.
Like, I did not want to be a part of the crowd. I knew better. I went down the beach and figured it out for myself because I didn't want to be a liability.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be made fun of. I didn't want to be told, you know, hey, you know, get out of the water, you know, this and that. I went and learned, you know, by myself. And that was kind of, it used to be that way, like, you know, but now you've got, what do you call them? Surf schools. You got surf schools now. You know, you've got, you can pay to play and get a personal surf coach who will take you and teach you how to surf and take you to the spots and paddle you around. If you've got enough money, you can do that. You can buy that. You can learn to tow surf big giant waves if you've got enough money. I mean, there's people on the big wave surfing tour who've only been they've been surfing like less than a decade, and they're already charging piahi and, you know, dungeons and places like that because they had enough money to get them out into those waves and pay the people to teach them to do that. Where when I started surfing, and I guess when you started surfing, which is a long time ago, you had to work your way up into like certain lineups. You had to work your way up into breaks. You had, and it wasn't just because people were being assholes, but usually a lot of the best breaks were the most heavy. Like, you could genuinely drown, you know.
Yeah.
And in California, it's got lifeguards to pull you out of the water if something goes bad. Not here. It's self-rescue. You know, one of our spots south of here, I mean, you can see probably include not just the surfers, like all those watercraft in the summertime, because our water, I don't know what your water temps are like, but God, this summer it was, I think we hit a high of like 82 degrees, you know. I mean, the water gets really warm here in summertime. And then when there's waves, there was probably 80 different types of watercraft.
Wow.
And that is a liability.
Yeah.
As far as people drowning.
For sure.
You know, because there's bathers in that mix as well. And there's nothing regulating, there's nobody regulating any of it. We don't have black ball. We don't have surf zones and swim zones.
We did on New Buffalo Beach when I was back there.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But we did.
But we're all gentle. I mean,
Yeah.
somebody wants to learn how to surf and is stoked, and they got, you know, their wits about them, and they don't have a huge ego. No matter where they go, I guarantee they're going to be welcomed here on the Great Lakes.
Weird thing, but it's like a weird thing where like you don't want too many beginners, but then you also want beginners, and it's a delicate balance. And
yeah,
it does seem like it could get clicky, but it's not really. If you just are just brave and like nice and polite, and like, I think usually ends up being a good time, and you can learn. When I first learned, I like read a book about surf etiquette. Then I took some lessons from the Welsh Surf Federation, and they were like kindergarten teachers on summer holiday, and they're like the nicest people in the world. And that's how I got. It was like so nice and super kind and peaceful.
Yeah, right on.
Well, I'm not supposed to share this story, but I am going to share this story. On the Wisconsin side, like 3 weeks ago, this is a completely separate incident from the guy that got ran over and, you know, his vertebrae got crushed. This guy paddled out at a spot. I don't know if he was at that level, and he broke his hip, had to get rescued out of the water. And it was a bad scene for everybody. And we don't know if he was a beginner or what. I'm not allowed to say his name, but he got hurt. He got seriously hurt paddling out at the wrong spot. Like he probably should have been down the beach where it was sandy. He paddled out where it was heavy and limestone bottom, and whatever happened. He got hurt, seriously hurt. So that's also part of it too. We don't want to share all these spots and send people out half cocked where they got to get it. This guy, the ambulance had to come get him. I mean, that was, there's that it's real concern.
Agreed. I agree.
And the public image of surfing, we are all trying to lift surfing up here around the Great Lakes instead of portraying surfers as like, I don't know, well, Spicoli from, Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah.
Surfer wasted, burnout, does not care about anybody or anything, because there are places here on the Great Lakes where if you park in their neighborhood, they're going to call the sheriffs on you. Like you're not welcome to park. You're not welcome to park there. And if a whole bunch of surfers show up there, I guarantee that they're going to pass a bylaw in that association saying you're going to see signs up that next year saying surfers not welcome here. And I've seen that in Florida. I've seen that in California. I've seen that in Washington State. And we're trying to, we're trying to manage. We're trying to be good stewards.
No, you got high stakes.
Yeah.
I 100% hear you. The one spot that was sort of special to us back home, it was, the water is public property, but sometimes to get to these spots, you got to go through private property. And so we've had instances of people kind of screwing that up for us. So I definitely hear you. Yeah. So, because this is all back to that original question about sharing the stoke. Yeah, we share the stoke. There is room for everyone.
Not at the same spot.
Not if you're not.
Just if you're not nice. Yeah, because if you're not nice, then that's what you're going to get. You'll have a mirror held up in front of you. You will get not nice back if it's a continual sort of thing. So before we go, I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to just kind of, if you have a message you want to say to the listeners or any final thoughts on anything we talked about, I'm giving you guys the floor.
If you wipe more than 7 times, you're not done pooping.
Okay. Not what I was expecting, but valuable advice nonetheless.
Surfing is a respectable thing to do. I wish that everyone thought that. And I don't know, have fun.
Okay, what do you mean by, hold on, explain. Surfing is a respectable thing to do? What do you mean by that?
Well, I don't know. I think I could go way into it, but people are just why would you go surfing?
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
the act of surfing is something to be respected, not frowned upon or laughed at.
Yeah.
Totally. But you know what? That's part of the secret. That's part of that not overcrowding, that it's if they want to think that, then whatever, more waves for us, right?
It is such an athletic thing to do. And coming from hockey, you need to use all of your long muscles. Power lifters are not hockey players because it's short muscles. That's what they do. And surfing is and golf is another thing, long muscles. And that's exactly what I feel with this. Granted, paddling, you got to use those short bursts, but literally everything else is like long, flowy, like muscles that you don't use on a regular basis. And like I feel that going from fall to winter and putting on a 5 mil suit, like I got out of shape surfing in your favorite bathing suit. Like it just wasn't like that the what you need to do. It's like it's such a sport. Like it should literally be respect. And like I get it. There's like stuff that goes along with it, but like it is so hard to do. And it like people that laugh or think down on it, it's just like literally have no clue, like absolutely no clue.
So I talked to Dom Domick and Noah Cohen a few days ago. Noah Cohen's a big pro surfer here in Canada. Dom Domick's the executive director of Surf Canada. And, you know, they were talking about how traditionally surfers were sort of like the outsider type, or, you know, they come from like, let's say, skateboarding or some of these fringe things. But Noah and a lot of other competitive surfers, they come from a different sort of mindset, the more like team sport background and whatnot. So it's interesting listening to you, Cam, talk about it from that athletic perspective rather than the like, oh, it's, you know, my spiritual jam or whatever. Like it's neat. It's cool. There's room for, you know, different flavors, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Mr. Not stoke machine, but carburetor, piston, whatever you want to call yourself, or just Tim Driscoll. Any words to leave us on?
Search for your freshwater fantasy.
I like it.
Duke Kahanamoku said, "This is the sport of kings."
That's true.
And surfing has made my life unmanageable. So it's
in the most excellent of ways, or
it's ruined relationships, jobs. I've been broke, and what the world, their standards would say that I'm unsuccessful. But I sleep well at night. My health is good. They're miserable at the stuff that they do. They want to hate on me because I'm stoked and I'm having a good time, you know, having the time of my life. And there's a lot of people that are bitter or jealous or envious. Oh, you guys are surfers. You refuse to grow up. Well, it's a choice. There's total dedication and commitment to, as she's saying, surfing is respectable, but you don't know that until you become a surfer yourself, like what that involves, what that entails. And surfing can be an addiction, and for some of us it's turned them into pro surfers, or people like Kai Lenny pushing the limits. You know, these guys are, their addiction to surfing has pushed boundaries of like what humans are capable of, you know, to amazing places. The early NASA project, their first astronauts, believe it or not, surfers were one of their major candidates. They wanted surfers to become astronauts because surfers were used to being tumbled. They were in great shape.
And the breathing, maybe the breath and whatnot.
All of it, like had to do with like surfers would have made good astronauts. So besides the not wanting to punch time clocks, though, that was the, you know,
true.
Yeah. So they found other people, you know, but that was all part of the early NASA program. There were surfers involved in that because of their fitness, and believe it or not, the action of getting tumbled by a wave, we develop a certain sense of balance with our inner ears, that we don't get motion sickness the way that normal people do. I mean, sailors have some of that as well too, but surfers, if you've surfed a lot, you kind of know which way is up, like
Yeah.
the time. So
Yeah. Well, when I'm on a rocky ferry ride or something, like to me that's fun. But yeah, other people get seasick. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's fun.
they're barfing over the railing and you've got a grin on your face.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And you know, surfing is that way, I think for a lot of us, you know, it puts a grin on our face.
So it can put a grin on your face, but like you're saying, it can also it has a shadow side, like everything in life. So, you know, moderation. But I gotta say, you know, listen to you guys, and you know, the people giving you hassle at the beach or blowing spots or telling you that surfing isn't respectable. Man, you guys got to come up to Canada. Like, I haven't experienced any of that crap. Like, maybe a little, but
I almost welcome it a little bit, but once, like, if I can start getting a little bit more on the level of these two with like turning the other cheek and not wanting, like, sometimes I need a little break from Facebook, but I don't need to get like blocked from Facebook by Facebook to do it. I should just, you know, just figure out another way to do it. But,
Remember the guy that hassled you at Muskegon? That down there at the one spot called you bad names?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. If we get into that now, his wife will never go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it part two.
part
Yeah,
two.
we'll have to do a part two at some point.
Part two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I will.
Did you say are you Canadian, Faith?
I was born in Canada, so I'm a citizen of both Canada.
So tell me about that. Where are you from?
Sarnia.
Oh, okay. And how old were you when you moved to the US?
Well, we lived on the border in Michigan, so I was just born in the hospital and then came back.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Just like I was born in the same hospital as Shania Twain, I feel like I have this connection to her. So, okay.
Yeah, but I do get a passport, and yep, I got a passport, Canadian passport.
Perfect. So these guys will be able to come over with you a little bit easier. A little, you know, those beards at the border might get held up. So,
yeah,
you know,
I'll bring
they
some
might need you.
guards and their horses or whatever you guys, your police ride up there. Was it? I know you guys ride something, right?
Those little donuts.
Yeah, Timbits. Yeah, Timbits or donuts.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you cross the Ambassador Bridge or wherever it is you go, you realize you have to dismount your car and get on a moose, right? You do know that? Yeah. Okay, I hope so.
Does the horse have a poutine, or do you got to get that separately?
Did you ask if the poutine comes with the horse?
Yeah.
No, it's extra. You gotta upgrade.
I know some secrets. I'm a hockey guy. I know some of these little things. Letterkenny. You guys tried to hide that from us for too many years.
Well, I think we Trailer Park Boys was our gem for the longest time, and then it came out on Netflix. And
you know why I say no? I'm saying. That's the only reason I say no. I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Why I'm so good at it. You know what I'm saying?
Right on. I love the Canadian stereotypes, though. We just, I don't know, we eat them up. Yeah.
I'm sorry. We do it because we're all white, I think.
No, hey, trust me. We have our own views of you guys that I could be saying, but you're my pals. And so we're keeping it all cool. We're moving past. We got to move past differences. It's easy to spot differences. It's harder to find out what we have in common. And at the end of the day, we're all human beings on this earth, obviously with the purpose. Don't matter what country you're from, we got to support each other. And especially this Great Lakes Surf Tribe. What do they do on, what is that Black Panther movie, you know, like the Wakanda thing? We should have like our own version of that for Great Lakes surfing. Oh yeah, what am I talking about? The Shaka.
How's it, brah?
Wow, must be late. Okay, well, I gotta say, it's the first time I've ever had 3 people on at once. So this was a lovely 4-way chat, and I'm feeling more stoked than I was when I came on this call. I'm grateful to have met the three of you. I feel like I got 3 new friends, and I love watching you guys on social media. If you ever think like, who's watching this, I am, just like I hope you're listening to this podcast. So it's been great chatting, and I say mahalo to you guys, and stay stoked.
Aloha.
Thanks, dude.
Nice to meet you. Have a good night.